So,
Hey!
you know that whole thing about self-caring? No. Here's the thing. You want to do a normal intro. I'm over here like, why don't we tell the audience that this is the 4th FPS we've done today? One was completely unrelated to this Eclipse Cathedral shenanigans, but, I'm just saying, let's get a little real here for a second. Fucking Kingdom Hearts go brrr, and no one's using the pecking FPS channel. Let's just go feral.
Go feral, go stupid.
Not that stupid.
Not that stupid. Not as stupid as Set apparently was.
Yeah, we can just always argue it's freshly made baby boy.
That is true.
Freshly out of the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and chrome plated and everything. That is a joke.
For legal reasons, this is a joke.
Yep.
Also, that
I'm
means
back
you
at
guys
it.
did, in fact, use 4 weeks to do that.
Oh shit,
Yes.
You're right. Well, here's the thing. He's only about a week or two old.
Yeah,
He's
that's
allowed
fair.
to be a little stupid.
That's fair.
He's allowed to be a little stupid. Come on, be nice.
Sirius was just, upset over it.
I mean,
It's
entirely valid.
yeah. And, speaking of Sirius, of which I am playing, and I'm just gonna go right into character here. He watched as the other 2 people in the room left, and then he looked over at Vexis, and he goes, "So, I thought you were going to do some unethical science or something like that."
I'm going to have Vexis is going to roll insight really quick on Sirius.
Holy
On
shit.
Dection! He rolled insight on Dection.
On
As
Oh, okay.
Dection. As Dection left, because Dection left rather quickly. And with a fucking 25, I feel like he has an idea that something is up with Dection, that's gonna have to end up getting talked about in a completely different FPS.
Hee-hoo.
That's a problem for Dection later. And Vexis kind of straightens up and imaginary dust or probably oddman fur off of his coat. And he goes, well, you see, sometimes you have to take a break between unethical science. And that's really not anything you should worry about, isn't it? Because you found yourself in quite a situation.
He's gonna take a moment to just stare at you. And he's gonna go, I'm just gonna keep my plausible deniability, or whatever that is.
Yes, has, Zalbert been chattering your ears off about, legality things?
Well, it didn't take us it took us like a day to get to this place called Yeast, so, yes.
Now then, and Vexis is going to turn around and make sure the lab doors are shut. And he's going to turn back to Sirius and go, you have questions, quite a few, I'm guessing. And unlike a fair amount of my compatriots here, I am slightly more inclined to give answers and also information regarding certain topics. I, on the other hand, have questions for you.
Well, I'm still coming down from that headache that copy of my memories gave me. So, why don't we start with your questions, and we'll get to my questions in a bit.
And just for scientific clarity's sake, while it was made via a copy of your memories, he is his own person by technicality, you know. So as awkward as it is to interact in time, no doubt your paths have already diverged quite a fair amount, and obviously you are not the same person. So just keep that in mind.
Good, I was afraid you were going to insinuate that we were the same person.
Considering Dection and I just spent the last 2 weeks putting that together, the whole of a person, I feel like it would rather be shameful of me to try and degrade our work, insinuating such a thing.
He's just gonna give you a thumbs up because yes, he may not be like that stupid, but also that was a lot of words, and he takes a little bit to think.
I do believe you are acquainted with one Roderick Asgrim Gylas.
Oh boy, now the questions about him come.
Well, you see, I have perchance stumbled upon an interesting piece of information in regards to the boy. And seeing as you are currently one of the only sources of information about said boy, pardon my curiosity. I overheard one Xehanort talking to someone of unknown origins, who apparently thought your friend was dead. Do you happen to know anything about that? Especially considering, am I correct in assuming that he kind of knows that Sterling is Roderick because they, you know, look alike?
Yes. Well, see, the thing here is I saw him go down. And I'm pretty sure his friend, Victor Voll, who attempted to revive him, didn't manage to do so. And then when I came back out to the other side of that weird magical portal, he followed us. And he was alive and breathing, and his eyes were gold as... I don't know, gold? Gold as your Leonin friend. Who, it has been helping me.
Yes, Zabert. Yes, that is quite interesting. Golden eyes and Sterling's was not golden. Interesting.
His eyes are supposed to be blue.
Oh yes, I'm quite aware.
Zalbert and I kind of got into a circular conversation like this about your friend Sterling, who's apparently also my friend Roderick.
I don't pretend to know anything about what exactly is up with Sterling, besides the fact he's apparently slipped the leash and gone missing. So, I don't know exactly where Sterling is, but should you run into him again, I'm sure you can ask him yourself on what decisions led him into the Order's loving embrace until recently.
Oh, that's a sentence you said right there. He's just gonna take a moment to breathe as he just kind of drips into his clothes. And his hair just, does the swirly thing.
Now, I must confess, we both are in, well, not exactly similar, but in unique and somewhat parallel situations. Your blades you had confiscated from you.
Yes.
They are those, key swords, correct?
Yep, I, forged them myself.
I perhaps have a vested interest in picking your brain a bit over those. Anything I tell you from here on out, may I assume you will keep secret, because I would rather like to keep my head attached to my shoulders, as you know, and preferably uninfluenced by Xehanorth's whatever he's doing.
So, Sirius is gonna roll insight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm gonna have...
That's pretty good. That's a 14.
a Vexis roll insight. Back. 21.
So, Sirius... I assume Vexis is telling the truth.
Oh, absolutely. Vexis is being very serious. He does not want to have any sort of anything to do with Vexis's personhood being threatened by Xehanorth. And also, he's very interested in any information Sirius has, but it does require him divulging information.
And Sirius kind of leans forward and looks at Vexis for a considering moment. And with your insight back, this man is tired. And that's kind of understandable, considering he was just having a existential crisis earlier about how much time he's actually spent in this godforsaken town. And he is a little bit suspicious, but after looking at your face and really getting a measure of Vexis, the suspicion leaves. Well, I don't want to deal with the fucking asshole bastard either. So, we have a deal. I ain't gonna tell anyone. Not even Kat.
Alright then. As you may know, I am Vexis Enteur. A manner of a few of us worked with Zaya previously in Exandria before this whole thing began, which is not exactly relevant, but I am interested in these key swords, the wielders, and particularly, specifically at the moment, to do with the light. Do you know anything about that?
I'm gonna go ahead and have him roll religion.
Mm-hmm.
What's his religion?
I don't know.
It's -1.
Amazing! Neither of these dumbasses know anything about religion.
It's a 10.
Eh.
So he'll go. I don't particularly know what that is, but apparently Vector Vol follows. That's a deity, right?
Apparently so. Dr. Vole. He's in town, isn't he?
Last I
Off the
checked,
hunt.
he doesn't leave that temple place very often. From
Him.
yes, there's a really large temple in town. It's got very pretty stained glass. One of the things they had me do was clean the windows.
I see. I'll have to go on a bit of a mouse chase later whenever I finally get a fucking moment. Perhaps. Unless I end up with one of those key swords in my gut, which would be rather unpreferable. Within this cathedral, light and darkness are apparently very important. But specifically, there is a creature you may be familiar with, the soul-stealing kind, corrupted by darkness and etc., etc. It had one of those key swords of yours. Not yours exactly, but one like yours.
He raises an eyebrow.
Yes, fortunately, when Zalbert offered this the key sword, it ate it. But considering its manner of attachment to it, I have a very interesting theory involving if it used to be its possession. Another one of your key sword wielders.
Sirius kind of opens his mouth and closes it and goes, and opens his mouth again and goes, you know, only people that I know that wield them other than me is Kat, Roderick, and Victorville. Honestly. At the Isles, it was just well, he just kind of shrugs. I kind of made my own based off of Xehanort at first.
I see.
Well, I needed a weapon because we were fighting, and Roderick, had a weapon that just suddenly appeared in his hand. It's very weird. I thought it at the time.
So you have a similar amount of limited knowledge I do. Unfortunate, but it is to be expected considering.
So I don't know, but he just kind of shrugs. I don't even know really where Victor came from. He came from somewhere. But I don't think he even came from where I met him, which was in Exandria.
I see. That is interesting information. Because I have no doubt you're going to be here for a while, I feel like a little bit of testing, perhaps non-invasive, of course, may be in order. There's a wall I would like to take you to if you don't mind.
He gets a suspicious look on his face, and he reaches up and kind of fiddles with the wedding ring that's now hanging outside of his shirt, and he's like, It's not going to hurt me, is it?
The worst I've seen it do is you walk into a wall. The best I've seen it do is you walk through the wall. Unless you're...
There is, like, complete shock on his face, like, people can walk through walls, sort of deal.
Vexis got him! He's got him! Hook, line, and sinker.
So I'm a little bit curious.
Well, I'm sure you'll be even more curious about what's on the other side should you make it through. Because, of course, you can make it through, can't you?
Well, I don't know. I haven't tried yet.
Well, then, I guess we'll just have to see, won't we? Vexis is gonna take him to the wall!
Okay!
We're gonna put him through the wall!
Yep.
Hey, Sirius, what's your alignment?
Neutral good. His alignment is neutral good, and he's like, so you guys walk into the room, and he goes, whoa, that's wow. It's very shiny.
Yes, it is quite fancy, and he gestures at the wall, and then you know what he's gonna do?
What is he going to do?
He's going to wave at Sirius and just walk very confidently through the wall.
And he passes through the wall without any resistance, and Sirius just stares for a moment, and then he very slowly starts walking through as well, and he makes it to the other side and joins you, and he's like, oh?
And it's very loud because there's a dragon that's snoring.
Wait a sec. Is it a dragon this time?
I don't know. Is it a dragon this time?
No, it's not. There's a person on a dais who has green hair, and they're snoring, but they're not really that loud.
Mm-hmm.
Sirius.
Vexis looks very pleased with himself.
Sirius looks at Vexis, looks back up at the wall, and goes, Is it normal to pass through the wall? Is that good?
I feel like it's an excellent question, the exact properties of the wall. So then you, I, and Naomi, really only Laura can. We haven't exactly tried putting Set through yet.
I see. What does that mean about your other two friends who can't come through?
I do not know. It's rather interesting. It's some sort of safeguard. Because Lara, as you know, has Zaya hanging over her shoulder, and yet she can walk through, while Zaber and Dection cannot. It's a rather interesting conundrum. But it is meant to safeguard, and Vexis gestures at the sleeping person. This being.
Sirius looks over and kind of just tilts his head as he looks at the gust. And he goes, Is he some sort of important person?
I have no idea, other than the fact this is a dragon.
That's a dragon?
It is a dragon.
He just kind of stares at the gust and then looks at Vexis like Vexis is pulling his leg. He doesn't believe.
Vexis is smiling. He is genuinely like, I have no idea who this person is and why they are being so eagerly protected, besides the fact apparently they're important. But yes, this is a dragon. He is being completely sincere.
How is that person a dragon?
Well, you see, whenever Laura came in, she decided to play her mandolin, and dragons, most dragons after a certain point in their age or species, can change their shape. And this dragon changed their shape in their sleep. It was rather fascinating, despite the fact it was unwanted by Laura to play her mandolin, but that aside, allowed for this very interesting discovery to occur.
Huh. Wonder why?
I don't know, but besides that, the cathedral has several interesting properties, some of which you may be interested in, or at least aware of. Because there's going to be some meddling about, perhaps by us. And so it's really sort of a mind the wet floor sign.
Okay. He has no idea how to take this. He's still kind of floored with this person is a dragon.
Vexis is having a great time.
I bet. Oh man.
This is also telling him how much Sirius knows, because it's like Sirius doesn't know anything. So now Vexis knows that Sirius doesn't know anything, which is very interesting.
I mean, there are some things that Sirius knows that Vexis has now been able to confirm, except that Sirius has no idea why that was.
Cathedral can change both time and location, as of which is exactly why you've been here much longer than you thought you've had.
I'm honestly still trying to wrap my head around that.
Well, for you, it's only been, what, 2.5 days since you were last here?
Yeah, about that.
It's been over a month for us.
He just blinks. Oh? So that's why there wasn't a... So that's why there wasn't a manhunt out for me out there? That's really...
Presumably so. That, and I have no doubt you all made a rather quite dramatic exit. But yes, we are moving at a faster pace than the rest of Einquell, which is where we are connected to currently, in order to get our work done rather quickly, because of course we're on a bit of a time crunch.
So, before you came, how was it like?
Not as fast-paced in comparison. I believe it was audio can't remember, out of character.
So 2 weeks inside Timeless Hollow was a month outside.
Okay. It was approximately half. That time was moving much slower. In comparison. There still was a dilation of time. Unfortunate for anxiety and stress levels, I'm sure.
Sirius is going to attempt to walk up to the steps and sit down on the bottom step. I'm gonna roll wisdom for him.
Vexis is gonna watch this happen. Genuinely curious. Can he do it? Can he do it? We just don't know.
So, that's a 17.
Yeah.
So what happens is he walks up to the bottom of the stairs, and then he kind of seems to struggle to take a step up, and he just kind of looks at Vexis like, what's going on?
Hmm.
And gets a few steps up the stairs before turning around and sitting down.
Vexis walks over and just plops down next to him. And threads his paws together and looks at Sirius, very fascinated.
What's this, He just kind of waves his hand in the air. What's... I just wanted to sit down on the stairs.
It's another security measure. Unless you make a deal with the kind patron of the cathedral, that is the cathedral, it rather likes to keep everyone else as far away from our scaly friend as possible.
I see.
You like to go betting your souls with beings higher than you?
No.
Then I don't suggest you do it, because Vexis is going to untangle his paws and show Sirius the back of the hand with the symbol on it and give a little wiggle of his little paw beans. And grin at him in a sort of very wry and, fashion.
Why did you decide to do something like that? It doesn't seem very, like,
Evil.
No, that's not the word I was going to say. I was going to say wise.
Well, yes, one could argue they're not too far off. I mean, I have a vested interest in certain kinds of thought and curiosities, and sometimes I'm sure you're very well aware. You make decisions, and you must follow through.
I suppose that's I suppose that's true.
And now you understand why I would like to keep this conversation very quiet. Because none of my fellows really know exactly what I did in this room to make a deal with the cathedral Krakoom. I would
As you say
like
Krakoom, the thunder outside, the lightning outside strikes, and there's a rumble, and the room shakes, and there's a interesting effect that happens. The being on the bed shifts into their dragon form and seems to curl up a little tighter. And Sirius jitters and looks back and goes,
Vexis is gonna lean over and like pat gently the Gust's brow, and then look back at Sirius and went, I told you. I don't know why you're surprised. I did warn you.
It's a little different, say it, he says, having to shout over the dragon's snores.
The loud snoring that starts up.
Yup.
Oh, I must ask, what exactly are you going to do while you're here?
I thought rightly, no? Salbert said he'd help me get my blades back, but, I understand that there is some give and take to a situation.
Not suggesting you join our cause or anything, whatever have you and whatnot. I am just saying, while you are here, I suggest you stick close to Zalbert and be careful where you stick your nose in.
He's just gonna nod and go, yep. So that, Laura, you keep talking about, does she have a pendant too, or how does that work?
Vexis reaches up and taps next to his eyes, and he goes, blood red eyes, boy. Planning on attempting to remedy that situation, but until then, any of our members of the Order who have blood red eyes, or, suspicious individuals who decide to pop by, can always tell the Zetas hanging over their shoulder because of the red.
Okay. Yep, I don't want anything to do with him, so...
Vexis gets up and, adjusts his, black leather, basically, lab coat, and kind of, flicks the collar out a little and, shakes his arms out to do his sleeves. He's like, yes, I believe we both share similar sentiment on, Zaya's practices are quite something. Now, if you do not mind, I do have a interesting experiment Action and I are working on.
Yes, I, he just kind of gets up and walks down the steps and glances one last time at the literal dragon before looking back at Vexis.
Now, feel free to, perhaps send any questions you have along. Perhaps the more innocent ones Zelba can take care of, or pass them along to Naomi or I. And you be polite to Naomi. Naomi is the caretaker of the cathedral, and I will be rather put out if anything happens to them.
I don't plan to be rude or anything, except maybe to that set, but only if he's going to. You know what? Never mind. He just kind of walks out of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And do you join him on the other side?
Do I what on the other side?
Do you join him on the other side?
He will take approximately just half a second to give the gust another, pat.
Mm-hmm.
Because the thunder had spooked the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly.
Yep. Wonder what that is about.
Wouldn't you like to know, Weather Boy?
We say to the recording and everyone listening.
He does take a half a second to, make sure, do sort of like what Naomi does and make sure that the gust is all covered up, because now the gust is a dragon again, and, making sure the giant dragon is comfortable, because that's kind of part of his whole shtick, with his deal. At least that's what he's allowing himself to interpret this fondness as. He's not getting emotions, you guys. What's an emotion? He doesn't have several people he's fond of besides Dection now. Yes, he does. He does join. Does join Sirius on the other side of the wall.
I'm sorry, I couldn't actually hear myself think while we were in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yes.
plan on being rude. That's not how I was raised. Oh. I just got into a tiff with that set because he kept insisting that I looked like him.
Hopefully, with time, the boy will develop more of his own personality besides fragments and pieces left over from your memories and the current environment.
Sirius just kind of nods his head.
You don't have to interact with him. Feel free to avoid him, even. It's none of my personal horse in the race. And do mind the, things we're going to be putting into place recently, because we've been informed of this and that, and we're going to have a bit of fun with any visitors. Unwanted ones, of course.
Alright, I just stick with Sal there and just stay out here, right?
Excellent. I will be seeing you around, Sirius. Look. And Vexis is going to sort of kind of cattily walk off back towards the lab.
Yep, through the secret passage, which Sirius knows about, Laura does not. Sirius is probably going to follow, but instead of following into the lab, he's gonna just sit. He's gonna sit in the hallway and just like press the back of his head up against the wall, waiting for Zalbert. Yup.
Bless his heart. He knows so much now. Vexis told him many things.
Yep.
Burdened with knowledge.
He needs to process all of it, so I think that's where we'll leave all of you.
Yep. Thank you all for coming. This is gonna be the last fucking FPS for the day, I swear to God.
Alright, goodbye everyone.
Bye-bye.